Marc, thanks for joining us. Let's start with some basics and what exactly is a court injunction and why do they exist?
Well, an injunction is basically a stop order. It's sort of saying you should stop doing a practice. And they're usually a fast-tracked court hearing, so they do happen pretty quick, so there's limited sort of evidentiary products before the justice.
So your research for Yellowhead has found that injunctions are granted more often to corporations against Indigenous peoples than they are to First Nations trying to protect their rights. Can you explain?
Yeah, that's correct. Only about 18.5% of Indigenous applications are successful, where more often than not they're successful for companies sort of opposing Indigenous actions such as blockades. Mm-hmm. And there's several reasons for that, but it tends to do with the reasoning of the legal tests of an injunction.
The late Art Manuel famously called injunctions the legal billy club. Is it fair to say they are used as a weapon against First Nations, and has there been an uptick in their use against Indigenous peoples?
Yes, every time we really see a blockade action, an injunction is usually brought. Mm-hmm. And for various reasons, such as trespass law, or in this case, they cited intimidation and mischief. The justices cite that a criminal act is probably or likely occurring, so an enforcement order is justified, and then the RCMP has to follow enforcement orders given by justices.
So you've reviewed Coastal GasLink's November 2018 injunction application. What did you find?
Well, the applications are, again, based mostly on that threefold test. So there's a serious issue to be tried, there's an irreparable harm suffered by the plaintiff, usually the company, and that there's a balance of convenience in favor of giving the injunction rather than not. And so in these cases, again, they cited the blockades as being criminal and also potentially opposed to the Forest Roads and Services Act. So because there's sort of tortious or criminal behavior, that justifies the enforcement orders.
So the RCMP say they have no choice but to enforce the court's injunction. What do you make of the images we saw last January of RCMP raiding the Gittenden checkpoint, and how should we be thinking about the next raid, which looks to be imminent?
Yeah, I mean, always those images are troubling to see when unarmed protectors are being sort of arrested sort of aggressively by the officers. But again, they are mandated to those enforcement orders. The RCMP don't have any sort of way around following that order. Again, they always have their discretion on how to implement that order, though, mm-hmm. And it seems the setup this time is similar to the last time.
Marc, we'll have to leave there, but appreciate you shedding some light on all this for us.
Thank you.